This series has been all about troubleshooting our homeschool. What I wanted to talk about today is what do you do if you troubleshoot your homeschool and then realize, oh my word, we have so many problems going on. There are so many things that we need to address. And I don't know how we can start the next semester until we get this stuff sorted out. But I don't want to lose months and months of schooling time just trying to get everything untangled. So, what do we do? I'm going to give you two steps that I think will significantly improve your homeschool in general and will make it possible for you to kind of unknot all of this string that makes up this crazy hairball of the mess that your homeschool is and allows you to start homeschooling again this next semester without having to stop and put aside a whole bunch of time just to try to sort everything out. We have talked multiple times in this series about how important deschooling is. So you may not be surprised to know that my first recommendation would be to stop everything and set aside at least a month for deschooling yourself. I would also recommend setting aside even more time to deschool your kids if they never had the opportunity to do that. Now, you may be thinking, well, hold on. You just said that we could start homeschooling again and that we weren't going to have to stop and press pause and lose all sorts of time. Well, here's the thing. Deschooling does not mean that your children stop learning. It does not mean that they are no longer engaged in anything academic. What it means is they are the masters of their own ship. It means that they are not required to do any specific academic work, but that they are encouraged to look into some things that interest them and to just spend time digging around in those things. It might mean they dig around for a day. It may mean that they kind of hyper focus on something and start kind of geeking out about it and learning everything they can about it. Doesn't matter what it is. It does not have to be something that on the surface has any kind of academic value. Realize, though, that when they do that, what they are doing is they are reigniting their natural curiosity and drive to learn. That is so, so important. And if they don't have that drive, homeschooling is always going to be like pulling teeth. You do not want pulling teeth homeschool. Okay. So you need to figure out how to help your kids get their motivation, get that intrinsic motivation to learn, reignite it. And the best way to do that is to spend some time deschooling, taking all of the forced academic stuff off their plate. Yes, you can have a schedule that requires them to, maybe get up at a certain time of the day or make sure that their chores are done by a certain time of the day, that sort of thing. But we don't require that they be doing math or they be doing history or learning or science or anything else. It is all about giving them the space to figure out what they even find interesting. A lot of high school kids struggle to know what they even want to do as a career, what they want to do in college, because they never have any time to figure out what they like. They are locked in to what the public school is making them do, and they don't really have a chance to figure out different options that are out there. We don't want our kids to get to a point where they are so clueless about the real world because they've been so locked down into just completing this checklist of education, right? So we want to give them the opportunity to be able to explore and to just learn what they find interesting. And in order to do that, they need time. Now, it may be that your kids are younger. Maybe they haven't spent a whole lot of time in public education, and it's not going to take that long for them to deschool. Fantastic. Still give them the opportunity if they never had it. If you have kids who never went to public school, they probably do not have that same need to be deschooled, but you still have the need to be deschooled. And so what you need to figure out is, how are we going to balance these two things? And that's where step 2 comes into play. I would recommend starting your next semester using simplified homeschooling. Simplified homeschooling is an approach that I created that is very similar to unschooling, but has some very specific boundaries and structure to it, because I do not fully buy into the unschooling approach to education. I do think that children do need to learn certain things. And so this approach kind of allows a partnership between parent and child to make sure that the things that they really do need to learn get learned. That stuff that your state requires, you're able to tick those boxes, but that they also have as much time as possible to deschool. Or if they don't need to deschool, it keeps them continuing to do their academics and continuing to learn without you having to spend a ton of time doing everything with them. And when your children are younger, that tends to be the thing, right? We're spending so much time helping them with their education. We don't have time to educate ourselves. And that's really what deschooling is in a way. It's educating ourselves about the conventional system, things we didn't really, maybe never really saw about that system, and then learning about all of these other approaches to education. So we as parents need to make sure that we are taking the time to deschool ourselves. And so if you have not done that, that needs to be your main priority moving forward into this next semester. Take a look at my deschooling experience because it is going to hyper focus everything that you do so that you're able to get further down your deschooling journey way faster. It's not going to take the years that it might take otherwise. It's going to be months and weeks instead. And so you're actually going to be able to start reaping the benefits of that deschooling much, much, much more quickly. And if you have kids that need to deschool, then you're definitely going to want to be deschooling yourself as well, because it's going to allow you to be confident in that decision to totally press pause on the academics and let them take that time, particularly if they're in high school. That can be so hard to let go of all of that high school stuff and let them have the time that they need to deschool themselves. But it is so important when we look at the long-term goals that we have for our kids. Our long-term goals are not graduation or college. Our long-term goals for our kids are being a functional adult, right? And a truly functional adult has the tools to learn. They know how to learn. They know how to think critically, and they know how to get done the things that need to be done. And deschooling is going to give them those tools and those abilities. So we want to give them the time that they need to be able to see learning as something that's actually interesting and to be able to rediscover their own natural curiosity so that the rest of their homeschool education from here on out, so much more enjoyable, so much less contentious, so much easier for everybody involved. And so that when they go on beyond this into maybe college, if that's what they do, but at least into adulthood and into the real world, they do not have this burden in their soul that education is a super boring thing that they want nothing to do with. It helps them to become lifelong learners. It helps them to be able to find that intrinsic motivation to learn things that they need to learn for a new job, or to be able to take advantage of an opportunity. Like, I need this language in order to go do this, or I need these skills in order to be able to go do this. If they have deschooled and they have rediscovered their natural curiosity and natural drive to learn, then they will have no problem buckling down to do those things. But if they have this negativity in their spirits regarding education, they're going to be very resistant to having to do any kind of academic or learning focused activity because they are so prejudiced against it. So by doing these two things, by deschooling yourself and by following a simplified approach to education, to homeschooling, you are going to free up so much more time, so much more mental space to be able to work out all of those problems that you've been struggling with this past semester, or maybe past semesters, and figure out, okay, what was the root of this? Was it really that I just needed to deschool myself? That might solve all your problems right there. You would be shocked at the number of problems deschooling solves. I'm not even kidding. You might find after you finish deschooling that everything about your homeschool is just magically better. And it's not magic, it was the deschooling. But if not, okay, at least you now have more tools, you have more information, and you have more time to be able to figure out, okay, what was the root of this issue? Why were my child and I butting heads so much? Why were we so miserable with homeschooling? What was going on? You'll be able to better sort out those problems because of the time you spent deschooling and because you were able to take a much more relaxed and simplified approach to education and give yourself the time and the energy and the mental real estate that you needed to be able to tackle those problems. You'll find my deschooling resources in the description of this video. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if you think that deschooling is going to solve the issues that you are having. And if you don't think it's going to solve the issues, I want to know why. What is the problem that you're dealing with that you don't think deschooling is going to fix? It might be that I have another resource for you, and I want to make sure that you get that so that you can start working on making your homeschool better in the next semester. If you learned something, then I hope you will like and subscribe. I will talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.